Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with a Pastor. We're going through the book of Mark. We're in Mark chapter 15. It's Passion Week. It's Friday of Passion Week, and it's the day that we call Good Friday. I don't know what was so good about it. It really showed humanity at their worst. But Jesus has been arrested at the Garden of Gethsemane. He's been brought. He's went through three illegal trials with the Jews. Then he's brought before Pilate. Pilate sends him to Herod. Herod sends him back to Pilate. Pilate finds nothing wrong with him. The religious leaders are insisting that he be crucified. Pilate tries to release him, hopes the people will demand that he be released, but instead they call Barabbas, and Pilate asks, "What shall I do with this Jesus of Nazareth?" And they said, "Crucify him." And so one of the other Gospels has him being beaten, and Pilate was hoping that the beating would suffice, did not. And he would have been beaten with what they called the cat of nine tails. It was a whip that had 9 strands on it, had glass or metal at the end, and so it would grab the skin, it would rip it. And after Roman beatings, your back would basically look like hamburger. It was a horrible thing. A lot of people died after Roman beatings. It was a horrible thing to do. But this is how Jesus is treated when they're getting prepared to take him to the cross. The soldiers, this is Mark 15, verse 16. The soldiers led Jesus away into the palace, that is the praetorium, and called together the whole company of soldiers. They put a purple robe on him. Then they twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on him. And they began to call out to him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Again and again they struck him on the head with a staff and spit on him. Falling on their knees, they paid homage to him, and when they had mocked him, they took off the purple robe and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. The Roman soldiers are insulting him or mocking him and all. They put a purple robe over him. They put a crown of thorns on him. They're mocking him as being the king of the Jews. They're hitting him on the head, which would have made the crown of thorns go in harder. A horrible scene. And then in verse 21, it says, "A certain man from Cyrene, Simon, the father of Alexander and Rufus, was passing by on his way in from the country, and they forced him to carry the cross." And we found out from the other one that Jesus was too weak to carry the cross, so they got Simon to carry the cross. You do wonder if maybe with all the details we get about, we have a man from Cyrene, Simon, whose father was Alexander, and he was the father of Alexander, and Rufus was passing by. If those weren't believers, if they didn't become believers, because the early Christians certainly knew them. They brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull. Probably meant that the mountainside, the boulders up there, which is pretty prevalent around Jerusalem, may have been look like skulls. In verse 23, they say, "Then they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him, dividing up his clothes. They cast lots to see what each would get." Jesus is being crucified completely naked, right there in front of the whole world. The soldiers cast lots for his clothes. And it was the 3rd hour when they crucified him. The written notice of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." And they crucified him between 2 robbers with him, one on his right and one on his left. And we're going to go over this next week about what happened to Jesus on the cross. We'll take a look at how Jesus died and the different significances of his death. the sayings of Jesus on what he said when he was on the cross. And we'll kind of look at that next week. But today, I think it's just sobering to think of what Jesus went through for our salvation. That he went through the mocking of Roman soldiers, he went through the beating, went through the crown of thorns, went through trying to carry his cross up what we call today the Via Dolorosa. When we go to Israel, if you come go to Israel with me, next December we'll walk the Via Dolorosa, the same path that Jesus took. It's very sobering to do that, and I've done it 3 times. Looking forward to doing it again in December, and it's just an amazing thing. Well, we'll look more at the cross of Jesus and then his resurrection next week. And so we have a good weekend. If you're here in Texas City area, I hope you'll come to church Sunday. We'll have a great church service, and you need the fellowship. You need to be with God's people on Sunday. And if not, I'll see you next Monday. Have a great day and a blessed weekend.